and I will pause it as soon as it gets going. All right. So D or drop down from the left into production. It's the tab I want you guys looking at the moment. So this is versus Imperator. I think he's EU as well, but he's a decent level Terran. I think close to high platinum. So what I'm gonna do, it's TVZ. Obviously I know he's in the top left, I'm bottom right. My thought process is to figure out what he's going to go. So he can go bio, he can go Mac, he can go air, though it's rare. And my job is to counter that. So if he goes bio, I want Ling Bling Muta. If he goes Mac, I want Roach Hydra. Or Ling Bling Hydra, depending on the mix composition. I'm not going to go air versus Terran. So I'm not even going to bother with that thought process. So I really only have about 3 options that I'll do. So what I did there was called the extractor trick. So I didn't make an overlord quick enough. Normally you're supposed to build the overlord at 13 supply. I mess this up every time. It'll put me into a supply cap, therefore I can't build drones. And I need drones for money. So what I end up doing is, because drones sacrifice their squishy bits to become a organ, more or less, I can make an extractor, and it'll remove the drone supply from my supply count, and then I can make another drone and then immediately cancel it. This puts me at 15-14 supply. So my drone production is not interrupted from the supply block. You can also do double extractor trick, but I don't typically do that.
I usually do it in ZVZ.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't really matter too much. Pull goes down the first 200. Depending on the matchup, I don't know what he's going to do, because I think this is like the first time of me fighting him. I drop pool first. You can go hatch before pool, or build your expansion, then get the spawning pool. In some matchups, you could actually go 3 hatch before pool if you want to be really greedy. But also, if you don't have the pool, that leaves you open to all kinds of early game shenanigans, such as the early game Reaper, Adepts, Zergling run-ins, etc. So without having Zergling or Queen support, you don't want to play it risky. This is a safe opener. He might come in with Hellions or something very early. I don't know. So for the moment, I'm just going to play it safe. First overlord goes across the map. It's usually going to, I don't know if you guys can see the ping, but close to his main and natural section. Either side of the opening, there's little pillars that you can park the overlord on top. They can't see up the pillars unless they have an aerial unit for detection to see up the high ground, as it were. The second overlord I didn't move yet, but normally I would stick him mid-map, so in the middle somewhere on another pillar. Or if I'm worried about a drop or something, or like photon cannons being built behind my mineral line, he'll hang around the natural for a little while to like watch and see what the enemy's first scout does. So he sends the SCV. It's not common, but sometimes they'll open with bunker rush, which they'll build a bunker right at your hatchery and then run Marines across the map to get to the bunker, and then cause a little bit of havoc for you early game. You can stop that with Queens and Spine Crawlers if you need to. Not very common, but it does happen. They can also proxy barracks, or proxy Rex as we like to call it, anywhere out in the map. But he's just doing a normal scout. Nothing too crazy. And so the only time it gets concerning if he goes to like the dark areas of the base where you don't have vision, then it becomes a problem. But I chase him off with a couple of Zerglings. The Reaper is coming down through the middle of the map now, and this is pretty much standard for Terran. I think I'm building more Zerglings. Normally, you don't want to take the Zerglings off creep because they do not fare well with the Reaper, but I wanted to get the SCV. And I have more buildings, so it's not a big concern. Yes.
Excuse me if I if I didn't hear just, but I really interested in this situation. There were 18 drones.
So I'm actually missing a drone from the main worker line right now that I need to get the full 16 for saturation. I will build drones and pull up this on the main until the secondary hatchery finishes, in which case I will grab some and transfer. I might not do it this game because I think I got distracted by the Reaper, but a lot of times I will continuously build drones because you're going to need about 90 of the little bastards. 60 is pretty common, but I can go up to 90 in the drone count. So a lot of this is going to be whether I'm responding to something and I lose my train of thought. It happens. But normally I'll grab about 4 to 5 and transfer down to the expansion. The other thing I forgot to mention, because I was focusing on the Reaper, your gas geyser goes down about half the building time of the spawning pool. This is so when it pops, the spawning pool is already built, and you start harvesting gas from it. You should have 100 gas, and you can do this a little bit earlier, but you should get up to about 100 gas, and then immediately get metabolic boost from the spawning pool or the Zergling speed upgrade. So this will obviously keep things like the Reaper, Hellions early game, some adept pressure from Protoss at bay. My next 50 gas, if I'm paying attention, should go to the Baneling's Nest. Depending on how spicy his interaction with me in the beginning. I normally don't want to fight off creep with Zerglings versus the Reaper. I just wanted to deflect him a little bit. Alright. I send the links across the map. The ones that were chasing the SCV. The main reason is I probably didn't see it, but I didn't get the SCV. I tried to. It's got like 5 health hit points missing. You can snipe the SCVs off their buildings, and they'll have to bring another SCV down to complete it. This is mainly a scout to see what he's doing, and I'm sending the Zerglings up the ramp. A lot of times Terran will leave their supply depots lowered, so you can actually get those Zerglings in there to do a quick scout, figure out what's going on, maybe kill a SCV or two, or just be a nuisance. But that's its whole purpose, is to just see what he's doing. So for me, this is what I see as a factory being built and a barracks. So 111, as they like to call it. Barracks Factory Starport, which is a very standard, very safe Terran opener. If I went up here and saw 3 barracks, that's 3 max Marine, is most likely a STEM timing attack, or the ability that makes them faster and shoot faster with a cost of 10 health, which is scary to deal with early game. Baneling is a direct counter to it, or a lot of roaches, but usually there's a lot of Marines. But he's playing safe for the moment, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. I have my few lings up. I'm going to get my queens out, and then I immediately go back to droning. Because right now, there's not really a threat. I do have an Overlord in position, so the only thing that's going to be annoying is this Reaper.
What was he waiting for? His SCV just was just standing near the bunker and doing nothing.
What, the Terran player? As
The
in,
Terran player, yeah. His CV was just standing near the bunker.
oh, it was repairing it, and I think he forgot to pull it off.
Okay.
Or he was building the bunker and he forgot to shift move it. It's,
Okay.
attention span and focus. Then again, like I said, it was going to be 1-1-1 based off the barracks and factories now placing the starport. So you can easily read that type of build just from going up the ramp a little bit. Reaper's annoying. I'm just not really paying too much attention to it. I dropped the Baneling Nest. It's a little late, but that's fine. I don't expect to play perfect this matchup. The spine crawler I'm due is usually you won't see pro players doing this. But eventually I make an Evo chamber wall and you usually have a spine crawler behind that. The main reason is to block the left side off so it forces run-ins to go around the right, which is the long way. So that way if he came in with 4 Hellions, he would have to, instead of being able to run up directly into my main base, he'll have to fight a spine crawler and most likely a queen. And I also, if he gets a lot of Hellions, I can put 2 to 3 queens in the gap to prevent him from running in my base and killing all my workers. So it's you'll probably see me do it. It's something I commonly do. But it's a way of keeping things like that from doing too much damage to your economy. Distractions. Back to what I was doing. So I have 1 creep queen at the moment that might ramp up to more. Yeah. And now he's going to begin his attack progression. See, here's the 4 Hellions coming out for the next set of harassment from the Terran player. It is also being followed by Cloak and Banshees. This is extremely common. So it's usually Reaper, 4 Hellions, about a couple Banshees. So he's playing pretty standard. This is what 90% of the Terran will do. Is a nice, safe opener. Get my third base going. Trying to spread creep towards it. I should really move some workers off. I'm probably planning to take gas here shortly. Because I'm trying to determine the tech direction. Because he hasn't really committed to bio or mech yet, so I catch those Hellions off. Which, I should back that up a little bit because I forgot to pay attention to that. So I'm going to do what is normally called the Baneling bust. I built a bunch of Banelings up here. I'm reinforcing lings to them. And normally I will pull up outside the base, so I'm looking for him to either come out and me to catch him, or me to go in and do damage to the worker line or the supply depots and get into the main with Zerglings is the whole point of this. But I don't have lair just yet, and I don't have Baneling speed, so I have to be careful what I do. But I also know the 4 Hellions are coming out. He's just been very slow with it, which is one of the gripes I had with him. I said, as soon as they're out, you should go. Otherwise, you'll get caught with stuff like this. But he's trying to build a supply depot wall to block himself off completely. So this is a good catch. I might not get lucky like this in most matchups. And he's built more than 4 Hellions, by the way. There's 6 here. And I've talked to him about it, and it's like a kind of like a force of habit on his part. So he tends to go into more of a mech build than a bio build. So you will not really see a lot of Marine or a lot of Marauder or Medivacs in this. And then Hellions die to Banelings. So do Hellbats. And I sent the wings, so just to get a better idea what's going on, then you'll see me turn around and go back, because it's not worth the engagement anymore. So I'm not going to flick them all to their death unless I'm getting something out of it. And he's got Widow Mines up there for further defense, and then he's put an engineering bay down there. So another barracks, a command center, another factory from him, so he's going to be focusing on a mixed build of some sort. He has the armory down. I go to Lair, get gas, get another gas, get workers to go to the gases. I'm building the Spore Crawler because I seen the Banshees. One in front, one in back. They should be in the mineral line, though. I have a bad habit. It's like an old habit of mine. But you can see where the workers are kind of split in their movement. There's like this gap in between their harvesting movement. It's like from the 3 mineral piles on the bottom left. And there's like 2 mineral piles, and there's like this big gap. You can put the Spore Crawler there in the mineral line. It'll protect them from harassment. But this is just like a force of habit for me to stick it behind the mineral line. Zerg defenses can pick up and walk around, so you can reposition them if you need to. And he'll probably get some kills here because I had a bad positioning of the Spore Crawler. I tried to bait him back into the Spore Crawler. I could move them, but I just bring extra queens up. Transfuse the one that's damaged. That's enough to scare him away. Because I can always, and as another response, I make this Overlord into an Overseer. Right next to his Banshee, so if he does try to come back in, he won't succeed. And just in case, I throw spores down at the third base, and then back to droning, back to getting upgrades. So I decide to go missile and armor and drop a Roach Warren. Because the Overlord here is going to discover what's exactly going in as he flies into the base. So he sees factory, 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 factory. Oh, gee, I wonder what he's doing. So obviously it's mech. The tanks confirm it. So no bioplay, no marine marauder medevac. It is pure mech. So I'm going to counter with the units that counter mech. So Roach Hydra. Banelings are still useful in this matchup because he's getting a lot of Hellbat type deal. But I won't make a lot of them from here on out. It's mostly as to deal with those unit numbers. So I basically almost stop. I don't want to build too many Zerglings, but I like them as a meat shield for the more expensive units. They're cheaper. But it should be almost purely Roach Hydra after this point. I take another base in the top. He's expanding down. He's pulling his army down here. And the Terran's production is going to ramp up. He's getting vehicle weapons, cyclones, mines, aliens. So it's all going to be this disgusting giant mech army that's going to be hard to deal with. Keep spreading creep. I'm not doing too well at that right now because I think I'm doing tech switches. Or I'm more concerned that I'm going to get rolled up with a bunch of tanks or something because I don't quite know what's going on. I'll have to cancel this expansion because he sees it. More or less. And get the Overseers for Ghost or Banshees. In this case, he's got the Banshees, so I want a couple. Get gases. Eventually I'll drop the Infestation Pit and the Hydra Den. I wasn't playing particularly very fast. I think this was like first game of the day or something for me. Oh, got a Banshee. But as you can see, he's just tank. Putting them up defensively. And I'll probably send Zerglings out to poke him and scout him and whatnot. I already know what he's going, so it's more or less just trying to get my upgrades to where they need to be. Get the tech and units that I need for the matchup. I think I plan on expanding to the bottom left instead of the top right. Ideally, you're supposed to expand away from your opponent. I was just catching that one up there to be a little cheeky. So it's definitely mech. This is going to speed it up a little bit. It's Thermal Pre-Igniter, the Blue Flame Hellion upgrade, Servo Cyclone attack upgrade. Yeah, I should have killed those 2 Hellions. There we go.
Excuse me, I've got a question. This is not the only time I see hatchery evolving into a lyre. In the second one, why is it like this?
The hatchery evolving to lair at natural is because a lot of times when you're playing a game, the main base will be dropped quite frequently.
Okay, that was obvious.
And a lot of times I will shove my tech at the natural. It's the safest. The only thing up here is going to be the baleen nest and the spawning pool. Sometimes I'll put a spire up here. But Zerg like to hide our tech. So I'll put the... so if he does scan me, it typically won't see behind the mineral lines. If he doesn't position it very correctly. So I'll hide the Hydra Den. I can put the Roach Den forward. He's going to know that at some point anyway. He'll know I have roaches by the first time he sees them. But he doesn't scan, which was one of my gripes with him. He doesn't periodically scan me to see what's going on. So eventually this will go to Hive, but the layer also goes from the hatchery's 1,500 health to 2,000 health upon layer evolution. So assaulting this defended position is not recommended because I have a stronger main structure, I have defenses, I have the Evo chamber walls. This is not a good place to get into. Air or ground attack. So if my main goes, I'm not dead. Because the main economy is gone. You know, there's hardly any minerals left. The bases that I'm concerned with are the 3rd and 4th. They are my economy. The natural will be running out here shortly. And a lot of times you'll see me... sorry. A lot of times you'll see me put a bunch of spine crawlers down at the 3rd and 4th positions and spore crawlers. Because they're going to get attacked. And having an additional defense there is just keeping that mining operation going longer. And you'll see the Terran do this as well. He got the planetary fortress at his 3rd. And a bunch of missile towers. And a sensor tower. He's got siege tanks sitting there. He wants to defend this operation. He's got siege tanks sitting on the cliff above it. He's got mines in the mineral line. He does not want me to run into that position. And he's doing the same thing on his 4th position. Another cheeky little Hellion run-in. He's building more planetary fortresses, more missile towers. He's trying to get these siege tanks to defend this position. And this is what we like to call the turtle Terran. He's not being aggressive. He's just sitting back, getting his tech up, getting his economy up. I can't really attack into this without losing a lot of units. And he does get a Liberator behind my base and kill a few drones. I think I notice it when he starts killing some at the natural. Then I'm like, no. And then he kills my queen. And then I end up moving the spore crawler. So he can't kill buildings, but he can kill workers. So they're just annoying. But a lot of times I'll catch units coming in for drops or liberators or something as they're flying to their positions. And now here's a big engagement. I'm basically running into it because he hasn't deployed the tanks yet. And then as soon as the tanks deploy, I run away. And I'm at almost 3-3 right now. And the opponent is at 2-2 or a 2-1, sorry, for his vehicle upgrades. So as a mech player, he's not getting his armor, but he has it in queue. So even if he does finish his armor upgrade, he still has to get armor 3. He is getting weapons 3, so I have an upgrade advantage at the moment. But he'll come in and poke more. I really don't want to be in the Liberator attack fields, but I don't have a choice. So running up on top of the tanks so they can't shoot in close range and pick off the Liberators. It wasn't particularly a good trade. I did lose my whole army, but so did he. And I built a bunch of emergency Zerglings in the event that something happens. And I go back to rebuilding my roaches and my hydras. I should have gotten Lurker at some point. I don't know why I didn't. Getting a macro hatch because I need more larvae. This game gets kind of weird, but it will speed it up a little bit because it is a long one. Just until he starts, I go back up, he expands down. But you can kind of see the little bit of the tempo that we got going here. It's a lot of back and forth here, a lot of back and forth here. And I start getting Zergling upgrades, Lurker upgrades. Yep. And then the next assault happens. I don't like this position. This is very bad to engage into because of the ramps. That's why he's scanning, so he can see up the ramp. And he has a Liberator sitting there. There's a bunch of siege tanks down in the middle. I do have a creep tumor there, but this is a bad spot to run my whole army into. So you'll see this a lot with Terran and their positioning. He does have all his tanks clustered, which is a no-no, but I can't really attack into this without losing everything. I just want to get rid of a few tanks. Battlecruisers come into play. I don't want to take too many losses. So the problem here is I gotta get rid of that Liberator. And there go my Lurkers. Tried to corrosive bile the Liberator. Now using the changelings to see what's going on. And now I can just like, okay, he doesn't really have anything, so I can just swarm it and get rid of it all. He's reinforcing into this, and I'm just going to catch it. He saves his battlecruisers. But I catch a lot of tanks for free. So this kind of turns into a bit of a slogfest between the two of us. Eventually what I'm doing, because I cannot walk into his base and kill him. Doing so is basically suicide at this point. He's got planetary fortresses, there's liberators, missile towers, siege tanks, widow mines darted throughout the whole defensive line. I won't engage this at all. What I'm doing is keeping him from trying to take the other bases on the map and basically starving him out to the point that if he sends an army, he can no longer defeat me. And you'll see that in this. I'll speed up quite a bit, but I do try to poke when I can. I get a planetary, do a few run-ins, seeing that I can't really pressure this. He does some cheeky shenanigans with the battle cruisers warping in. Another big army coming up. And he gets on creep, and it's like, okay, I know you're here. Switch to mostly Hydra. Battle cruisers are back again. Use the Nidus as a distraction so I can get rid of the battle cruiser. But he's not paying attention, so free battle cruiser. But this is gonna, and he's doing the same thing at the top here. He's doing planetary fortress defenses. So I can't really get into this. Swarm host is a good option. I think I do build them this game. To crack this without taking too much losses. The same thing with Broodlords, but I know he's building battle cruisers, so that, and there's Thor's present, so Broodlord's probably not a good idea. So I build 10 Swarm Hosts instead. Put the defenses up at the expansions. Take another base in a pretty risky position. But this is a lot of how do you crack the Terran turtle? I mean, I could Nidus in his base, but he's got really good coverage with his sensor towers. I mean, I'd have to go all the way to the bottom left and then all the way up to the top left to get into the main to do any damage with an Overlord to see for the Nidus. So right now it's just rebuild the economy, keep him scared with Nidus. And then I do a little cheeky run-in with the Swarm Host to get a planetary. He decides to push out. And we're back to this old little game of run the big armies into each other. I had to pull the Swarm Host. I didn't use their ability right here. Oh, I did in the end there. Should have did it quicker. But it's a lot of this. I'm not going to commit 100% to killing him because I know if I do, I'll just get shredded. I already tried it earlier. So a lot of this is just playing the waiting game. Unfortunately, I don't really see this too often in the TVZ, but this happens quite a bit with their little planetary fortress walls. Because it's really hard to get into and deal any damage. It's not cost efficient to use just straight Baneline. I mean, I could use Ultras. But I'm mostly focused on Roach Hydra Lurker, so there's no real need for me to do that, and I just keep denying these bases. And at some point, I think he loses a battle. He does get, like, a bunch of ghosts and then tries to nuke me. But I deny it, and it just kind of like shuts it all down. I'll get to that point. He's trying to sacrifice his SCVs for supply. Because he can just call down mules for workers. But you can see right now, he's got 1 base mined out, 2 base mined out, 3 base mined out, 4 base mined out, 5 base mined out. He's got 1 base economy versus 1, 2, 3 base economy. These planetary fortresses are expensive, man. He tries to nuke my lurkers, and I figure it out, and I uproot him, and then I kill his ghost. And then he sacrifices more workers for supply. Decides to get rid of a base. I was going to continue, but he showed up and dropped a bunch of nukes right there, and I'm like, nope, running away. And this is basically where it ends as soon as this last battle takes place. I all armied the locusts from the Stormhouse. But, I mean, this is basically it. So, he's got money. He just doesn't have a lot of gas. He could have mass marine, but it wouldn't really helped him in the situation. So, I just bled him dry. This is the best way to win that. If you can't beat him outright, just bleed him dry. Take little fights here and there. As long as you're winning the trades. You know. Any questions on this?
I want to see a text version of the build. I would be very grateful to you if you sent this.
Oh, yeah, I sent one to... Yeah. It's pretty standard shit. I'll send it to you. So... also I should link the website as well.
Okay.
It should have basically all the build orders in existence.
Okay, I see.
But we can go ahead and leave this game. But that's kind of like how I would go about dealing with something like that, because it's really out of pocket. It's weird. It's normally you see Terrans do Marine Marauder Medevac, which is like their standard staple, can't go wrong build. Which in case I would go Ling Bling Muta into Broodlord or into Ultralisk, depending on how certain things factor in. Like, if there's a lot of Marine, I'll go more towards Ultra. If there's less Marine, I'll go towards Broodlord. But Ultra is usually the best response. You guys can go ahead and leave that replay. That was just a demonstration, if you will.